Founded in 1991 by patients, the FSHD Society is the largest grassroots network of FSHD patients, their families, and research activists. The FSHD Society offers a community of support, news, and information for the millions of people affected by FSHD worldwide. This is FSHD Society Radio. Welcome to the FSHD Society Radio Show. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you have found us. We are now streaming live on YouTube. That is the direction we're going to head you as we get things kind of geared up and readjusted here on my end. I want to make sure I always can find your comments, see your comments. There we go. We got it going up. And so excited to start the 2021 year by shifting ourselves from Facebook coming to YouTube live. It's I don't know, I feel like I've graduated a little bit. It feels kind of exciting that way, that our audience maybe is going to expand just that little bit more. If you want to get in contact with me with the show, you can. Email is a great way. FSHDradio@fshdsociety.org. That email, of course, is open during the show, after the show, anytime, as well as through the comment page through YouTube, which I will be keeping an eye on. And this way, if you have questions for myself, or more importantly, questions for our guests, you can definitely chime in and we can get those to them live on air as we do this. Don't forget, if there's any episodes you missed, either throughout 2020 or even earlier, if you really want to go back to the Wayback Machine, you can find all those episodes, all those past episodes on Spotify and Google and all those other platforms that you probably find podcasts. FSHD Society is there. Tonight, we'll definitely go through events and things that are going on in the FSHD Society coming up this month. We're changing the format just a little bit. We're coming to you once a month again, kind of as we started the show long time ago. We were just doing monthly. We're kind of reverting a little bit to that as we kick off January in 2021 here. And we'll have some amazing guests that are already booking right now. Today is one of those days where we bring in a very special guest. We're gonna welcome her in now. She's a country music singer songwriter. I love talking to singer and songwriters and musicians because I can't do what they do. I think that's part of my way of, I guess, living vicariously. I get at least to talk to them. And today we're going to welcome in. So it's MaRynn Taylor. She is the singer-songwriter that has this amazing song out. It's called Dads and Daughters. And I don't know if you've seen the video or listened to the music. Listen to this song. It is beautiful. And we're so excited to bring her in. We're going to ask her she can go ahead and turn her camera on. We have her on Zoom, so you can get to see and listen at the same time. It's always, technology, guys. It's so much fun. So we want to bring her in. Let's see here. There we go. I think we're loading up just greatly here. Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for coming in and spending some time with us a little bit.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. June kind of hooked up this connection a little bit and talked a little bit about your story and your kind of tie-in to FSHD a little bit. And we're going to touch on that. But why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a little about yourself and maybe even where the itch to get into music started.
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. I'm MaRynn Taylor. I'm 19 years old. I'm a country artist, and I moved here to Nashville about a year and a half ago now. And I have a cool story. Me and my mom were at a CMA Fest one year, and we got this flyer and that said 60-second spotlight. And we were kind of wondering, like, what is this? So we went and found where they were holding this room where singer and songwriters could go and perform 60 seconds of a song they wrote or covered. And so we went and I sang 2 songs, and they were actually done for the day. And me and my mom just kind of showed up, and they were like, "Yeah, we really like you." And thankfully, that night, they were like, "You should come with us if you want to CMA Fest at Nissan Stadium, like in the suite and stuff." And me and my mom were like, "Okay, yeah," you know.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
that was my label who did that. And yeah, that whole summer was kind of like summer camp for me with them, getting to write songs for the first time. And actually the first song that I wrote, actually without my dad, was about my dad, called
Hmm.
Dads and Daughters. And
Wow.
so that summer I wrote that song, and then I got my record deal in November on Coffee Country and Cody, which is the AM Grand Ole Opry radio. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how I started.
That is phenomenal. Now that feels like it happened really fast. I mean, but
Good.
it, but I mean, did it? Did it? Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, but I mean, there must have been like I mean, there was some years of cultivating and some work, even if you're younger. I mean, there's still some time there where you're probably, working on your craft a little bit, that the, the parts that not everybody sees, kind of discovering what kind of music you're going to write about, or, finding maybe your flow a little bit. Was that tough for you, or was that something that you just got right into it? You knew that this was the kind of sound you were going to produce, you're comfortable with it, and away you went.
It was tough at first. I mean, definitely nervous to get on stage and stuff for the first time, but
Mm.
it was so fun to do like little festival like idol things, that they do. And and I wouldn't sing country songs normally for those things because I love competition, and I knew if I sang a big song, so I would sing like Whitney Houston or Etta James and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
if I showed off my voice a little bit, I might have a good chance of winning.
Right.
But I grew up with like Carrie Underwood, Dixie Chicks,
Mhm.
Trisha Yearwood, Shania, and Taylor Swift. Um, and that's just who I gravitated to, especially moving to Nashville. I just kind of found my sound, with going kind of back to what I know. And
Mhm.
that, yeah.
Those names you mentioned, would that be under your list of inspirational artists that inspired you, or are there others you could add?
Oh, yeah. I grew up, there was a lot of music in the house. So there was them. I loved James Taylor and John Denver, um,
Hmm.
and just good music. There's a ton of, like, my dad loves blues, and rock and roll. So it was a very musical household growing up.
Yeah. Now you just kind of great segue there, because talking about your dad a little bit, and obviously we're talking about a song that you wrote about, your dad and daughter. So I guess a little bit of both of you in that relationship that you have. Tell us a little bit about your dad, and how does that, I guess, bring you here, on this show? Like, I'm sure there's some people listening going, wait a minute, okay, this is great. She's a successful up and coming young singer songwriter, but what does that have to do with FSHD? Like, where's that tie-in? I know that I'd love to kind of touch in on that story.
Yeah. So my dad has FSHD, muscular dystrophy, and he's had it. He was diagnosed around the year I was born, so he's had it my whole life. And he is someone I just look up to. His spirit and just how he goes through life. I'm so inspired by him, and it makes me choked up. But and um, and so writing Dads and Daughters, just there's a lot of love going into that song.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear it. I mean, I could see it even within the video as well. I listened to it several times over. I'm a really big lyrics person. So I can honestly say I'm not probably your biggest country music fan, but what I do like about country music is the lyrics, the stories, and what you tell in a story within that song is really, I mean, it just touches you, you know. deep. And how long did it take you to write that song?
Well, I wrote it with Jason Early, a friend of mine, and I think it was like 11 a.m. till like 3 p.m. It took a little bit of a day to write it. Yeah, and I went home and I was so excited just to show my parents the work tape, because that was like my first day kind of going to work and writing for the first time. Uh, so yeah, I was kind of surprised how quick just, but I mean, writing from what I know, that kind of happens quickly, and it was just easy to put down into words and to sing it.
What came first, the lyrics or the melody?
Whew, I'm trying to think back. I think it all kind of happened at once. We knew we wanted to write that story from when she's a baby and to when she's a teenager, to when she's getting married, and just that life between a dad and daughter, of what stages they go through. So we started with that and then just quickly added melody to it, and it came out to be Dads and Daughters.
Yeah, I know that's like always a tough question for me to ask. Sometimes I don't know, what the response could be. Is it melody? Is it lyrics? Like what kind of came first? And but I find it fascinating because I don't have a lick of musical, talent at all. So I always find it fascinating to kind of open up a singer-songwriter's head a little bit and kind of look in and go, man, how did you get there? And what was that path? So thank you for sharing a little bit of that. I mean, for me selfishly, that's why I kind of wanted to ask, because I just find it, very, very fascinating. How about the video side? That seems like that's gotten some really good responses from people that have seen it. Can you touch on that a little bit in the creation of, not just the song, but now of course the video that goes along with it?
Well, I kind of came up with the concept of the video being home videos, and I remembered the song was just a demo, and I went into iMovie and I put the demo in and I just put the home videos in and I showed them to my label, and they loved it, and they helped me create it and put it all together to make it the music video. And I was so happy how it turned out. I'm so happy about the response that it's getting. And a lot of people are relating to it. And the home videos hit hard because, like, that's my life showing right there.
Right.
And when I showed it to my dad, he started crying, and my mom started crying. And it just kind of gets you.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I have two boys, and I don't plan on having more. So I'm, a little deprived of this particular relationship. However, I can, I guess, relate a little because I do have a sister, and then of course, the father-daughter relationship that I saw from that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I do know it is unique, isn't it? I mean, it's definitely a special one for sure. What are, I guess, maybe describe a little bit of that relationship you have with your dad?
Mhm. The relationship with me and my dad is amazing. He's like my best friend. I can go to him for anything, for advice, or just stuff like that. And I've learned so much from him growing up and learning from what he has to go through. And I've also learned, that other daughters love their dads, and their dads love there's just that relationship. And what's great about that is I made a lyric video for people to send in videos or photos of their dad and daughter relationship, so that's out there too.
Nice.
Which is really cool that they also have that same relationship. And it's cool that it started out with me and my dad, and now it's relatable to other girls and their dads.
Yeah, it's kind of grown. That was going to be one of my questions, is that, what has been the response from people that have seen it and then of course contributing with their own video? Is there a story that someone has sent to you, or some type of correspondence or message of how your music is kind of touched them a little bit with the relationship they have with their dad?
It always makes me tear up when, like, I got it a few months ago. A girl messaged me through social media. She's like, I thought I'd tell you I used your song for my daddy-daughter dance at my wedding. And she sent me a video and photos, and I was just like, oh, like that's just I was hoping that would happen, and then when it does, it's just it's so special. It really, really is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, I got kind of goosebumps when you share that story. For some reason, I
Yeah.
didn't even like grasp that. You know, like in my head when I was listening to the music and when I knew you were coming on and one of the questions, man, I'm like scolding myself. That should have been one of the top ones, like the father-daughter dance. But the father-daughter dance, that's such a classic, you know, moment for a father and a daughter, and this song is perfect for that time. How awesome is that? Is that the first time that you're aware of that it's been used in that form?
Yeah, that was the first time, and I'm hoping they're using it more. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if weddings are really happening right now, but I'm hoping maybe when they start happening again, I'll get those cool notifications. I'll get the same goosebumps that, people are listening and following along with it. So, yeah.
Your dad, did he contribute within the song? Did I understand that he has a little bit of a background vocal
He does.
work in there? Yeah.
Yeah, he sings, and he loves music too. Um, he sings on the third verse. And so my producer, Boris Glenn Whitehead, actually came to our house and had set up a mic for him in his office, and he got to sing on the song. So if you go to the third verse, you can hear him singing along with me. Yeah, it was so cool.
That is cool. I mean, that is really cool. He's like right in there, and it's about your relationship. There's a lot of tie-ins, and I think that's what makes that song so relatable for so many people that have listened to it, and continue to. Uh, when it comes to this whole, you kind of touched on it with not having a lot of weddings happening right now, not a lot of social things going on, and that makes it kind of tough for me. I love live music. So even as a fan of live music, it's been kind of a difficult year. I can't even imagine from a musician standpoint how difficult it's been. We've had other musicians come on and talk about how it has been tough, to make a living, of course, but also the energy of the people that they kind of miss. With the live performances you've done prior, and then now this kind of hiatus, how has that been to kind of transition or pivot or work through this time for you?
Yeah. Well, what I've been doing is I've been writing more, and I've been in the studio more, which has been so cool, and just focusing on that music that will come out. So then when live music does happen again, I'm going to be ready for it.
Yeah,
So,
you might be playing for a long time then. If you got a lot of
right?
man, it's gonna be a long set. That's
I'm
good.
fine with
That's good.
that. I'm fine with that.
Now you've done some recent holiday songs and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that you've put out on there on YouTube and whatnot?
Yeah, so I did Merry Mondays with MaRynn, where each Monday, 4 Mondays before Christmas, I put out a Christmas cover that I love. Um, and those have gotten some great responses too. And that was so fun. I'm so into Christmas, so that was just like a huge goal for me to like put out like Christmas stuff on social media,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And yeah,
What
it
was
was so
your
great to see.
what was the favorite song that you did within that group of Christmas songs?
Probably Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. That one got, I think, the most views out of all of them. People seem to respond to that one a lot on Facebook, which I thought was so cool to see that they were connecting to that as well.
Yeah, I watched that one, and you hit that one solid. I mean, you had the tone of the room. I mean, I thought I was in a room with a fire crackling and the whole thing. I mean, you set the tone. It was really nice. That was probably my favorite as well. Not that the other ones were bad. They weren't. But that one kind of stood out for me. And I'm a big classic, Christmas song type person, and
Mhm.
that really hit home too. So that was great. And thank you for doing that for people. I think that probably lifted some spirits, I would imagine, kind of having that connectivity to your audience, even if it is through YouTube or in this case Zoom and those kind of things. So kind of having that engagement, is really key. I think
Yeah.
that's what music can do for people. Um, what is that like for you, when you're kind of in your groove, if it's songwriting or if it's live performance? Can you like describe that feeling when you're kind of, I guess, in the zone, when you're doing your craft?
It feels great. Like, getting even to go into the studio and record Merry Mondays with MaRynn, um, it's just I've always loved to sing. That's just my happy place. Songwriting is now my happy place. It's it's just where I feel like I'm supposed to be,
Mm.
really. And it just feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my purpose. And it's just my happy place of where I get to be, and I get to be in it every day, which I'm very thankful for. And so to share my happy place with people is really cool too.
And you started, so young, making that journey to Nashville. What was that like? Or what was that conversation like, telling your parents, like, I think I want to do this? How did that all play out?
Oh, they were so supportive, so
Yeah.
supportive. Because even back in Michigan, where I'm from, I was singing all the time, doing auditions for like The Voice and American Idol and stuff. And it was pretty clear that like this is what I want to do. And they were gonna move to Nashville when I was just a baby, but they ended up not doing it. So I already knew they kind of loved it too.
Yeah.
So talking about that and was a pretty easy conversation to be like, hey, you want to move to Nashville? Like, no biggie. But they were so down for it. And with my dad having FSHD, it's so nicer down here that we can, it's sunny out a lot more than it was in Michigan, which is good for him, I think. Um,
How's your dad been doing with the progression within the disease?
he is getting weaker over
Mhm.
time. It's slowly happening, but he's still like one of the strongest people I know in my mind.
Mhm.
With it,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, I'm sure, to, I mean, for me, I have it as well, so I know it is difficult to live with, but I always don't want to forget those people that are walking alongside us, such as yourself with your dad, that kind of see it. And same with like my wife, and I'll tell people when they ask me, "Oh, how am I doing?" and I always redirect it, well, I'm doing great and my wife is doing great as well. Like, let's not forget about the people that are like right in there with it, right in there with you. And so I'm sure the love and support is felt by him as well, and through your
Mhm.
music. I mean, what a tribute. I
Yeah.
mean, that is pretty phenomenal.
It is. He's such a good guy, and I mean, he what and how he goes through it is he tells me to just enjoy every day the best that you can, and so I try to live by that every day. That there's joy in wherever you can find it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Mhm.
What's in the future for you? I know outside of live music, but it sounds like you're working on some new stuff. Is there going to be, any talk of new album coming out or something like that? Something you can tease the audience with?
There's definitely some new music coming this whole year. um, Stuff like that, but I won't tease too much yet. But yeah, it's coming.
I tried, people. I tried. See that? I was,
It's
you
coming.
know, trying to catch you off your guard. Maybe you'd let one slip, but you're good. You're good. Well, there's stuff coming. That's good, right? You gotta leave us on bated breath, waiting for the new music to come out. And of course, so many people are going to be excited to get back out and watch live music, and I'm sure we'll find you on the road as well. That's usually right. What comes, you get the album, then hopefully you get the tour, and so on and so on and so on. And you just keep going. What is your dream tour? Like, who would you love to tour with?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd probably love to do like Trisha Yearwood or Carrie, like those I grew up with.
Right.
So cool just to learn from them up close. Yeah. Like that every night would be crazy. Even like Keith Urban or yeah, like that whole group of country artists would be amazing.
Have you had any interactions with other artists, almost like a mentorship type thing, or like you were kind of alluding to, you learning from a little bit as you go?
Yeah. I haven't met a whole bunch. I got signed in November and then kind of, COVID hit. So there wasn't a lot of people around most of the year, but I'm hoping maybe this year I can run into like, hey, Carrie, how's it going? Hopefully something like that'll happen.
My people call your people. That's what you got to say, right? Isn't that how that works, right?
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely. If people want to find your music now and learn more about you and be on the front page, right, or on the front side of when that new album breaks, how can they do that? How can they find more about you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is just MaRynn Taylor, MaRynn, and my Facebook is MaRynn Taylor Music, and my Twitter is MaRynn. I think it's Marin Taylor. Pretty sure that's my Twitter. Marin Taylor. Yeah.
Google her, people. Yeah, just Google her.
And my TikTok is Marin Taylor, so you can find.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm old, Marin. I am. You just said TikTok. Right, TikTok, of course. Oh, I'm getting old. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Before, as we say goodbye to you, we're gonna play your track. And so everybody can enjoy the music a little bit. But thanks for spending some time with us, talking about your music, sharing your story with your dad, about your dad, and all the great things you're doing. We really wish you the best of luck, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is the Dads and Daughters song, folks. This is, I think, probably what most of you have been waiting for. They're like, Tim, would you just shut up and play the song? All right. Let's go.
10 little toes. She has his nose and the blue from her mother's eyes. His hands were shaking round that pink blanket. He hoped he was holding her right. In that moment, he realized dads and daughters, they go together like boats in water. They're meant for each other. The wind and the waves, they'll sail away from the storm and make it to shore. There's nothing stronger than a love between dads and daughters. Before he could blink, she was 16, stealing the keys to his car. He'd wait at home, let her go on her own, knew she wouldn't run too far. Dads and daughters, they go together like boats in water. They're meant for each other. The wind and the waves, they'll sail away from the storm and make it to shore. There's nothing stronger than a love between dads and daughters. Ooh. Ooh. sees her in white, gives her to another man. I hope he understands. Dads and daughters, they go together like boats in water. They're meant for each other. The wind and the waves, they'll sail away from the storm and make it to shore. There's nothing stronger than love between dads and daughters.
Wow, that is a powerful song, folks. It hits you right where you live. I think that's a country thing, right? That was beautiful. Man, it's a good song. It's a phenomenal song. Great lyrics. And we just had the artist on. If you missed it, man, you missed out, because she was a great guest. It's MaRynn Taylor, and singing Dads and Daughters. Oh, yeah. Someone wrote on the YouTube comments, I need a Kleenex. Holy smokes. Absolutely. Oh, awesome. Awesome tune. Awesome tune. And now keep in mind, I enjoy the song. I enjoy the lyrics. And I'm not even a country music fan per se, but I do like good music and a great voice. And that was it. That was it. So we thank her for being here. And she was here to share her story, not just about music with us, but also because your dad has FSHD, inspired by him and his life and how he's pivoted through those things, overcome, strength, perseverance, all those things, right? And she's inspired and writes that song. So we hope that that takes her far. And I could not believe within the interview when she brought up that somebody used that song on their wedding father-daughter dance. Like, duh, that is that is a no-brainer. Why didn't I think of that? That's a perfect time for that song to be played. So I hope that becomes one of those classics used in weddings coming up. So we thank her for her time and sharing her story and sharing her music and letting us play that for you all to enjoy. So her name is spelled, for those that don't know, it's MaRynn, and Taylor is the last name. And you can find MaRynn Taylor music. Just Google her. She's got a website, a lot of YouTube videos there, including a video that goes along with that song we just played, which is just as touching as the song itself. So you might want to have some Kleenex on the standby for something like that. You don't want to necessarily do that without. It's probably better. It's probably better that way. Thank you all for being here. This is YouTube, right? We're broadcasting through YouTube in 2021 as we push through into the new year. I think some of us wanted to kick the door in a long time ago and barge our way into the new year and get rid of 2020. Some of the stain of 2020 is still lingering, unfortunately, with COVID and other political issues going on. But I'm so glad that we can spend some time here within our community and share a little bit of FSHD Society Radio Show time together. Didn't have MaRynn on too long because, she has other engagements, other things. So we want to fill a little bit of time here with events and things that are going on in the FSHD Society. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or things about the show, or maybe even after the show, if there's guest requests or something you want to add in. That's FSHD Radio at FSHDsociety.org. That's the email address. And feel free to use the chat room on YouTube. How is one thing I want to kind of touch on, and maybe we can get some comments on this one, is how is your New Year's resolution doing? You're 12 days in. Have you quit already? Have you stopped? Have you decided to do something else? I don't think I even made one, to tell you the quite honest truth. I think mine is to try to find a job that actually follows through with what they say they're going to do. I've had some nightmare stories, man, I could share with you about trying to find employment around this area of mine over here. But I think maybe that's my New Year's resolution. I have no idea. So I'm curious to know yours, what you guys think. Kelly T says, wonderful. MaRynn, yeah, thank you. Thank you for commenting on the song. Anantha says, beautiful song. Thank you. Yeah. Jack Gerblick, great show, Tim. I'm a father, 2 daughters. Thank you for sharing, MaRynn. Yeah. Jack, absolutely, right? That song probably hit home for you for sure. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's just powerful, powerful stuff. So glad that she could join us and be here to share that and to kick off the new year that way. Like I said, I've made it no secret that I love singer-songwriters, musicians, and bringing them on the show. We've had others in the past. We've had Goran, who is a I've kind of had a guy crush fan on Goran, who is from the Milwaukee area. He's a musician as well, singer-songwriter for a band I loved growing up. Now he's a solo artist in the country music world. So we had him on, and there's others, and their names are escaping me right now. Maybe you guys can fill in for me. Bergman, right? Yes, he does the that was his name, Bergman, and the band, I cannot recall it, but he plays the mandolin, and he has FSHD. So we've had that musician on as well, and so many others that share their talents on this show. Has just been so much fun. I don't know if you're listening to that show or that song in that point where her dad sings in. I mean, you can hear his voice very, very clearly, and they have a great melody together. So there was that part, just like she said it was going to be, right at the end in that verse. Yeah. So what do we have going on, folks, coming into the new year of 2021? We still plan on having the things that we brought you virtually in the COVID time, but we're going to continue to do that. Like, for instance, when we had the walk and roll, I think there's talk about having a virtual element to it. So look in your calendars for those things as the walk and roll events come around sometime in usually September. Then you have the Radiothon on Giving Tuesday. Now that's almost a year away, but it's going to come up fast. Boy, I'll tell you. It's going to come up fast. So I do that crazy 14 hours sitting in the chair, giving guest after guest, as I have an awesome production team behind me, getting everything lined up. It is so powerful that day for me to know all of what's in the inner workings of getting that show off. So that's always fun. FSHD World FSHD Day. Is that, I said it better that way. That will be June 20th. We have that coming up. So many things we still have plan on bringing to you. And I think we're all going to be streaming that through YouTube now. What do you think? Is YouTube better than Facebook? Is this going to be, is this going to work for everyone? I'm looking right at you. You guys tell me. I hope that I'm coming through loud and clear and things are going well here in this first show of the new year. Yeah, so I asked you, I haven't gotten any responses. Shame on you guys. Come on. Don't you have any New Year's resolutions? Are you still going with it 12 days in? And what people usually, they'll try to lose weight. They'll try to get stronger. I think if we had Bill and Mitch here, our exercise gurus that we've had on many times in the past, talking about great exercises you're going to do, things that you're going to work on with your body and get stronger, they would probably say, stick with it. Make the goals small enough that you can take on easy and conquer, right? I think that's what they would probably say, right? That's probably what they'd say. And so I think that's my advice to you. So if you're thinking about quitting, don't quit. Push on. Oh, wait, you know what? I just thought of this. I did start a little bit of a New Year's resolution. And I think without really making it a resolution, I think I just started doing it again. I started doing more yoga. It is not a pretty sight. I'm going to tell you, we will never air that on YouTube. But I do try to get this body of mine moving around a little bit. And what I come to find, those other yogis, as I call us, out there doing their yoga thing, if you have an animal in your house, a cat, dog, etc. I have a dog. He's actually visited the studio during show, just no one has realized it. He does bother me during yoga, but that will not stop me from my resolution. I think that is a resolution. Yeah, I've started to do it almost daily now in the morning. It's amazing how much time sometimes you have. You don't have to go rush off to work. You get your kids settled into virtual school. Your wife heads off to her part day at work, and then you're there. I'm like, I'll do some yoga. So I guess I did. I did start my year thing. Yeah. No resolution yet. Need to find one. Maybe finish college. Says Anantha, I hope I pronounce your name properly. If not, I apologize. I love your emojis, by the way. That's a great resolution. Okay, let me ask you this, since I have your attention. What are you going to go to school for? What would be that, right? Because if you can maybe set that goal, think about where you'd go, and then some advice I have for that is write it down. Write it down. Journal it. Journal it the day you thought of it, and then what are the paths to get you there, right? It doesn't mean you have to just jump out and do it right away tomorrow. Write it down. Research it. Look into it. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? I'm waiting for that comment. I'm waiting in anticipation. What are you going to go to school for? Maybe or finish college. So what do you have to finish? That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that, though. I appreciate it. You're the only one, the only one brave enough, including myself, about my yoga with my dog bothering me. That's about it. This is terrible radio. This is what this is turning into. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we have in store next month. That's right. We're doing monthly shows, second Tuesday of the month. A beautiful, very touching song. MaRynn, thank you for keep making the comments for her. Absolutely. It was a very touching song. I'm glad that she shared it. Thank you for your comment. Thanks for joining us today. Not doing engineering. Yes, you pronounced it correctly. Good. I'm not doing engineering. Oh, I am doing engineering. Wow, that's hard. Engineering's hard. I knew a friend of mine. He went back to school. This was a number of years ago, but he went back in his later age of his life, well past your typical college age. And he went back to go to engineering, electrical engineering, from a school near here called MSOE, Milwaukee School of Engineering. I guess it's one of the top ones. Very difficult. And he was having twins at the time, even more difficult. So his wife is a saint. He's a great guy, but he got through it. I think you could, right? How much more do you got to go? Can you finish it? And what does that goal look like when you're done? My wife went back to school and graduated in 2018. It took her about 3 years to go back, and that was an accelerated program in accounting, and got her bachelor's in that science. And that was phenomenal to witness. It really was. The ups, the downs, the triumph at the end. I mean, it was something else. To have a front row seat to that was something else. It's inspiring. It inspires me to the point where I try to, like, if she can do that, well, why can't I do this or something, right? I try to keep it as a focus sometimes. It's actually my screensaver on my phone is my wife in her gown, her graduation gown. It kind of keeps me on this like focus of a reminder, if someone can accomplish that, what can you accomplish? So set your sights, see what you can do. Anantha, see what you can do. Anyway, I was going to talk about next show. In February, we're going to have an amazing show about the Caregiver Hour. And I think she's actually Sue Drescher. Yeah, she is. There it is. She's been commenting a little bit throughout the night on this show. It's going to be a great segment that we're going to have. She's going to be the featured guest. We're going to talk about that Caregiver Hour, where it is what it says. It is a event that FSHD Society offers people that are the caregivers, and they're there to share and help each other. And that's kind of what I alluded to within the interview along with MaRynn, was that you don't want to forget the people that are walking aside, alongside you in this battle of FSHD. Yeah, you are the person that has the disease, but sometimes I almost think, man, it's like my wife struggles with the anxiety of it, or watching me deal with pain or things I could do before, and now not so well or at all. And I can only imagine that frustration must feel for her. So that hour is for those, to make sure that you're being helped, that your emotional state is being kept in mind as well. Jose Long says, hi, I'm tuning in just now. Sorry, what's the topic? Oh, you missed the guest. That's okay, because you know what? You missed it. That's okay. It'll be on YouTube. You can watch it again. You can listen to the great song. You can also just search in MaRynn Taylor, who is the guest that we had today. She was a singer-songwriter, a country music singer-songwriter, played a phenomenal song of hers. dads and daughters, and her father has FSHD. So that's what's our topic today. And I've had this question out now since you've joined us. What is your New Year's resolution? Have you stuck with it? That's another thing we're talking about right now, as we're getting close to kind of winding up shop, though, already for the night. Here's another question that has come into my mind as we shifted from Facebook to YouTube. Okay. There could be people that didn't even know there was an FSHD Society radio show. We've been going for quite a while. It was monthly. It was on Blog Talk Radio for a while. And then we went Facebook Live. Monthly, when COVID hit, turned to weekly because I thought it'll keep me from going crazy. It'll make me busy. It'll bring the community closer together. So we started doing more weekly shows, and that kind of carried over to the end of the year here. And then we're kind of going back to the original format of monthly. But raise your hand if you didn't know that there was a FSHD Society radio show before YouTube came here. So if you did not know, we're here, and this is what we're talking about. So yeah, kind of a casual show today to start off the year. We don't want to make it too difficult for you to digest. There's too many heavy things in the world to deal with right now. So we want to make this more of a comfortable community type place where we can share in our conversations with each other. And so thanks for tuning in. We got about 5 minutes or so ish, whatever, give or take. I want to make sure that I'm covering all my bases. I wanted to thank, definitely too as well, the FSHD Society, throughout their support of me bringing this crazy idea to fruition or to reality years ago, from podcast to live web, whatever this is, simulcasting. It's so much fun talking with you each month, or for a while there each week. Something I always look forward to. This community is something that kind of keeps me together. So thank you for that. And thank you for the FSHD Society for helping out with that. June Kinoshita, Lee Reynolds, Beth Johnston, Mark Stone, all those people in the office helping out. I know I'm missing more people. Yeah. Okay, I have FSHD MD, and I follow this channel to gain knowledge I don't get from my doctors. That's awesome. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Thank you for welcoming me. You bet. Thank you for being here. That's good to know, and an interesting point that you bring up, that you jump onto this channel, gain knowledge that you don't get from your doctors. I mean, we do have doctors on here and scientists and researchers. We talk about the disease, but what I love, and I love those guests, but I kind of slant more to the emotional side or the community side of this disease. Kind of shows like this where we just kind of, chat and bring things up and chat on here and talk a little bit. Michael Osborne said, "Hey Tim, this is my first show. This was a great interview. I was just diagnosed with FSHD, and I have a 19-year-old daughter, so it hit home." Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad we found each other. That's great. What a great way to start the year. Yeah. I don't have a daughter, but I have two sons, and I can relate to some degree, but it is a different relationship, isn't it, Michael? It really is. It is a different relationship. Yeah. I think MaRynn kind of really hit it right on the head. The way the song was written, the tone, the lyrics, relatable, I think, for all, that can understand those things. And her dad has FSHD, and, it's hard. To me, it's tough as a parent that when I have FSHD, and I don't want to put that burden on my kids, but at the same time, I don't want them to be completely unaware, and shield them completely. So you kind of share a little bit with them, but you don't want them to see you hurting too much or struggling too much. I don't want to burden them with that. So it's always an interesting dynamic. And I think MaRynn's song helps, I think, kind of communicate those feelings. It was good stuff. A little bit as before we close up shop here, we're going to touch on the other events coming up in FSHD Society world. This is what we do, folks. This is what we do. You're watching live production here. This is a live production. This is what we're doing. We're getting the song up. We play the background music so you have something soft to listen to while I talk about the great events coming up in FSHD Society's world. Let's see here. 2 young boys as well. Oh, wow. Michael comments that 2 young boys as well. His relationship is different, but the love is the same. Absolutely. Tim, that's a hope we all talk about in our caregiver times together. Yes, absolutely you do. You do, Sue Drescher, and you are going to be the next featured guest. We're so excited in February to have you on the show. So coming up in events on FSHD Society, you can find all these things on fshdsociety.org. On the 16th, a couple days away, the Colorado virtual chapter meeting, 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the 16th. On the 21st, the FSHD-U gets together again. It is the introduction to whole body MRI for FSHD, 12 p.m. Central Time. Rosemary Schull of the AMRA, which is a Swedish company working with Fulcrum. They're going to talk about the MRI and DUX4. Could be an interesting conversation. Join us with FSHD-U on the 21st. Then it's the Caregiver Sharegiver Hours we've been talking about. That is the actual Caregiver Sharegiver Hour. Be a part of it on the 26th of January, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we march into February. There's a wellness hour, a great place for all of us to get together and gather and share. That is 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on the 9th, it's the FSHD Society Radio Show again as we welcome in Sue Drescher. And I believe we might have another guest, right, Sue? I'm sure you'll let me know. And we're going to talk about the Caregiver Sharegiver Hour and how important that is to have that community and that involvement and that connection with those that are our caregivers, that are also our spouses or our siblings or our, right? They have to wear many hats. And I find that absolutely fascinating. Well, I think, that's my favorite song, Tim. Oh, this song right here. Thanks. It's Tycho. I hope you like it. So thank you guys for being here. Those that are the first time on YouTube, we're going to be here each month. If you want to have us cover topics that you realize we have not covered before or things you want to chat at, go ahead and send me those emails, fshdradio@fshtsociety.org. You can reach me there anytime. We can even set up a time to talk. If there's some things that just kind of bothering you, need someone to talk to, I can do that too. We can set up a time, use that email address, get a hold of me. It's not just on the show. We can definitely go beyond the mic. Might be a new segment. Anyway, so thanks for being here. We'll see you next month as we talk about Caregiver Sharegiver Hour with Sue Drescher. Thank you all for the FSHD Society for helping out, all you listening, and a very special thank you to MaRynn Taylor, who shared her music, her story, her relationship with her dad who has FSHD, and how that inspired that song that we played for you today, Dads and Daughters. You can find that on Spotify. You can find that on her website and on YouTube. Take care. Have a good night. We'll see you next month. You've been listening to the FSHD Society Radio Show.